Hey guys, Dragon Sheep here, and it's a beautiful day in the void. I'm feeling energized. What do you guys want to do? Well, you asked for it. Time to milk my more successful videos for all they're worth. But don't say I didn't warn you of what's to come. Today we'll be doing Ice Wings and Sand Wings. I probably should have started this when The Dangerous Gift first came out, so I could catch all the articles while they were still ripe with mistakes. Guess I'll just have to make the best of it by corrupting what's already there. I do love a challenge. Let's begin. Glacier had white scales and arctic blue eyes. Icicle has gleaming white scales. She is pristine with pale, arctic blue eyes. Crystal has shimmering white scales, with pale eyes as clear blue as the sky. Wow! Ice Wings! Such a unique species. Let's switch it up with some protagonists. Winter is shiny, silvery, and immaculate, with glittering pale blue scales, the color of a frozen lake. He has icy blue and white scales, like overlapping shards of ice that become darker along his spine and the edges of his wings. He has dark or pale blue eyes that are as blue as Arctic oceans. Schrodinger's eyes. You don't know which it'll be till you look at him. He also has silver blue wings and razor-sharp silver claws. He wears a small wolf skin pouch tied to one of his ankles that contains a small skyfire stone. He is handsome and dashing, with a soulfully tragic face and a gruff voice. He has a moon-pale shape, pointed elbows, and flashing silver scales. Well, Prince Winter has set a high bar for perfection in his elbows alone. No wonder he was attracted to Moon. She was the only one who could match his shininess. Wow, my art style's really changed. How will the others compare? Snowfall is large and regal, with shiny white scales. She has dark blue eyes and curved white wings. She formerly owned a heavy metal crown, described as being too large for her head, that was studded with diamonds and metallic spikes that looked similar to icicles. She wears a pouch around her neck that contains a copy of Kibley's enchanted earring. Snow Fox had white scales and dark blue eyes, with tiny gems embedded between each of her teeth. Never says what kind of gems. I think I'll make them red because I think Ice Wings would look good in red stuff. Peppermint dragons. Why do most dragons always go for jewelry that's the exact same color as them? It doesn't stand out at all. Permanent grills are kind of a unique decoration, though. We haven't seen another dragon with it since. Was it an embarrassing ancient fashion trend? Were they just a cover-up for her needing braces so that her teeth could be the only straight thing about her? Are there dragon orthodontists? Her wings were pure white and were patterned with a scattering of blue-gray scales that looked like rippling shadows. She wore a chain hung with one silver loop, indicative of her status as a first circle Icewing. She moved like a confident predator, with a voice that slithered like seals warming across a patch of ice. Well, that's an interesting image. Moving on. Arctic had silvery, polished, white scales as pale as the moon's, that contained hints of pale blue. His piercing blue eyes, like fragments of ice, were the color of a cloudless sky. His scales looked scuffed, and he had a thunderous, glacier-cracking voice, as well as a cracking, bitter laugh that sounded like icicles snapping off of a roof. He had a light blue diamond earring in his left ear and a silver narwhal earring in his right. His long tongue was blue and forked. Whoa, do Ice Wings have forked tongues? Well, it doesn't say they don't. There is also the possibility he got it altered because he's a rebellious little schnoodle and maybe he wanted to match his wife so they could be tongue buddies. Okay, that took a weird turn. Moving on. Hailstorm is tall, with silvery scales, long glittering silver and white wings, and fierce white claws. He's a millennial who's been through a lot. Makes sense. His sharp, alert eyes were as blue as the Arctic sky, bluer than icicles or winters. Even bluer than winter? Oh no, I don't know how we're gonna accomplish that. Unless it's time to resort to darker measures. It's time to use a forbidden color! Don't worry, it won't hurt. We're just gonna burn our eyes a little. So first, we're gonna crank up our screen brightness like this is your parents' iPhone and we're gonna look into the yellow eye. Focus on the convenient X in the middle. Don't be intimidated by the prolonged eye contact, you gotta keep going. Stare at it like it's your last box of wind thins and you know that if you turn your back for 1 second it will be snapped up by the flames of permanent roasting, never to be cold again. Okay, stop staring, that's rude. Now, as we look at the black eye, what we're left with should be a blue that's so dark it's black at the same time. Unless you're watching on double speed, impatient whelps, go back and do it again. This forbidden color will now fade. Probably. And as it does, we're moving on to Sand Wings. Let's start with the three sisters. Blaze has white gold scales, a long neck, and pitch-dark eyes, similar to those of her sisters. She has been depicted with 3 glittering rings on her talons. Gorgeous! It's no wonder Blaze was known for her beauty. Burn had pale yellow and pale golden scales that radiated heat like the desert horizon, that were covered with jagged scars, one of which was a particularly vicious burn along the majority of the flank under her left wing. Burn got burned. Her obsidian black eyes had no white in them at all. They were orbs of pure, menacing black. She was massive and of enormous size, you don't say, with long talons, twice the size of Clay's. She did not wear any accessories, but her claws and teeth were stained from all the blood she had shed. She had heavy footsteps. Well, I would think so. She's like the dragon version of Bigfoot. Blister had yellow and white gold scales, as pale as desert sand, with a pattern of black diamond scales running down her spine. She had glittering, obsidian black eyes and a snake-like gaze, as well as a long, cunning face and serpentine figure. Her eyes glittered with danger. Dang, Tui really likes to describe things as glittering. She had been depicted wearing black diamond earrings outlined in white gold, and a sheath on her ankle containing a wicked-looking dagger. An aura of menace seemed to surround her. Well, that's a danger noodle if I've ever seen one. Let's do Qibli. Qibli has pale, light, sand-yellow scales with a few tiny dark brown speckles on his snout and yellow wings. He has a small, rakish scar zigzagging across his snout from where Voldemort tried to kill him as a baby, and wears a shiny, warm, small gold hoop earring in one ear, with one warm orange-amber teardrop hanging from it. He is scruffy, scrawny, wiry, narrow-shouldered, and has sharp eyes. Well, he turned out slightly normal. Let's see if there's any resemblance in the family. Rattlesnake is hulking, muscular, large, and burly. She wears a black hood and a golden medallion etched with an image of a vulture, and she has 5 dragon skull tattoos trailing from her head like a long, morbid earring. Either she or Sirocco looks a lot like Qibli. Well, which is it? I guess we'll never know. Next up is Peepaw Vulture. He and Albatross should start a murderous grandpa club. I don't know if I can do a better job at capturing his fabulousness than the wiki already has. Look at that detail. He's not scared to rock a skirt. I'll do my best. Vulture has pale yellow scales covered in hundreds of black dragon skull tattoos, appearing similar to a leopard from a distance. He wears a black cape lined with gold, and gold chains are draped along his wings. His claws and tail barb are dipped in gold leaf, and enormous black and gold earrings shaped like spiders gleam in his ears. His obsidian, glittering, hypnotic, dark, haunting eyes are similar to the eye of Onyx. Not solid black, but black in loops all the way down, like looking into the longest, deepest hole in the world. He is quite tall, with a hooked snout and a long neck. He has a slithering, nightmarish shape, a hypnotic voice, and wears a heavy perfumed oil that permeates the air. I'm seeing a lot of vampire-ish traits in this guy. Are vampire dragons a thing? Well, of course they are, that goes without question. The real question is he among them? Food for thought, food for thought. And that brings us to the end of this video. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time.